For my final project, I did the song The Need by Absolute Anarchy, which is a band that I am friends with from the local Detroit rock and metal scene. And I really like their music, and none of it was available for tablature or sheet music. So I thought I would give them some support and go with it. So this guitar solo, which is the section of the song I'm using for my project, it's really rooted around this riff that the rhythm guitarist plays, and that's where he'll just pedal on this B flat, and he'll go from the perfect fifth on the F down to the tritone, down to the fourth, down to the major third, and he'll do it with this kind of like syncopated, like da 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 rhythm. And I think that's really cool. And it kind of reminds me of the James Bond theme song with that chromatic movement. And it also reminds me of the song Kashmir by Led Zeppelin, similarly for that chromatic movement, and also for the groovy syncopated rhythm. But while that's going on, the bass literally just pounds out straight eighth notes the entire time on a B flat, just to really root the song on that note. And the drums just hold back this halftime rock groove with a few improvised fills, and they really tune the snare drum really low to give it this kind of 80s sound. But the drums really just drive the track forward with nothing too complex, just your basic rock groove. And while that's going on, the guitarist Noah Polston uses quite a few different things. He'll stick mainly with his B flat minor, pentatonic, but he'll also throw in some minor runs, and he'll throw in some there's one part that had a really cool diminished run where he'll go up the one diminished chord, the B flat, and then he'll go up to the next diminished chord in the diminished scale, and then the next chord, and then he'll be back home. And that was really tasty, and I was impressed because he told me that he doesn't actually have any training in music theory at all. For him to think of stuff like that, it's quite impressive to do that with just your ear. But anyway, besides those scales, he'll also throw in a few accidentals. Some of them I can't really rationalize. I think it may just have been almost an accident that he played them, just because he's playing so fast. Or also it could have, some of them make sense, and he could have picked that out with his ear, that the accidentals work because of what's being played in the rhythm guitar, either that tritone or that major third that's out of the key. He uses some accidentals to complement that. But also his rhythmic variety is very nice. He'll use a lot of syncopation, and he'll go back and forth from a triplety feel to an 8th note, 16th note grid type feel really well. And I think his rhythmic variety is really what makes this pretty lengthy guitar solo not get old. I think it's worth mentioning that to perform this, you actually need a 24 fret guitar, which is unusual. Those aren't that common. But because the song is tuned down 1/2 step to E flat standard tuning, and it has a lot of high notes that you couldn't even play on a regular guitar that has 22 frets in the standard tuning, you'll need 24 frets to be able to make this happen. But anyway, then we go into the last about quarter of the solo, where Noah just plays these minor thirds, and he'll go up these minor thirds in the same motion as the bass and the guitars, who will go up from a B flat to a C to a D flat, or just your C, or your B flat power chord, which is just another term for a perfect fifth that guitarists use. So we'll go from the B flat power chord to the C power chord to the D flat power chord. And Noah will play really high minor thirds that follow that motion. So we'll do the B flat minor third to the C minor third to the D flat minor third. And then after that, the guitar and the bass will go back down to the B flat, and he'll play something different. It happens 2 times, and he plays a different lick each time. But that more firmly roots that the song is in fact in B flat minor, because it's honestly a little uncertain when you've got that major third happening so frequently. But I feel like the fact that they do that there, and the first chord that's really spelled out by all the string instruments, once you get to the, I believe it's measure 34, is that B flat minor triad, just spelled out with the bass and the 2 guitars. that really hammers home that is in fact in B flat minor, because then it starts to go up the scale. And then he just finishes it off with some nice pull-offs and then a nice big bend, and then that's it. Really, it's a nice solo. It's really tastily done, and I really liked a lot of his harmonic and rhythmic choices. But it's not too hard on the ear either. It's really, you don't need to have this enhanced musical palette just to appreciate it. So I think it's really cool, and I hope you agree.